Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to this module on Excel where we will talk about tables in Microsoft Excel, and further we will see how to do sorting and filtering within tables. Okay, the sorting and filtering can definitely be done without the table as well, but converting your data into a table is a good idea because it makes life easy. All right, let's see what is the table all about and how it makes our life easy, and further we'll go into sorting and filtering. Okay, but please note, sorting and filtering can also be done without converting your data into a table as well. Okay, so I have this sheet here by the name ORG data. It's an organizational dummy data. Okay, now I've been given those 10 columns. Okay, I would like to, this 10th column is where I've applied a if function. So maybe I can just put up an if header here. All right, it's not compulsory, but I can always do that. And I can take a format painter and apply the same formatting to that header as the other headers have. Okay, first, let's just convert this data into a table. Okay, so there are 4 ways of converting your data into a table. First is you go by the ribbon method, the home tab. So I can click my mouse on any one single cell of my choice within the data. I can go to the home tab, and just next to conditional formatting, I have a feature that says format as table. I can go to the drop down and choose any one of the styles that I like from here. Okay, it gives me a small window like this which says format as table, and it automatically captures my entire data, and I just need to say OK from here. So that's one ribbon method. Another ribbon method, and the second method to convert your data into a table, is again select any one cell, go to the insert tab and click on the icon here that says table. That's another way. It directly gives you the small window which says create a table. Okay, let's just cancel from here. The third method is the shortcut, which is Control L. Okay, and the fourth method is again a shortcut, Control T. T as in tables. There are 4 methods. Let's use the fourth one, Control T. All right, and then I can say OK or enter, and that's it. My data gets converted into a table. I've got multiple table styles to choose from. Okay, so I can just choose any one of these styles if I want to change the look and feel of the table. Okay, all right. Notice here that by default it has applied those filter drop downs. If I do not want those filter drop downs, I can always untick this filter button option within the design tab. Please note that this design tab is also a contextual tab. If I keep my mouse outside the table, the design tab will not appear. If I keep my mouse within the table somewhere, the design tab appears. Okay, so I can untick this filter button if required. All right, there is another option here which says total row, so I can simply tick mark on total row. It takes me right at the bottom and tells me that this table consists of 100 rows. Okay, of course, if I wish, I can always uncheck that as well. Okay, all right, so now I'm within the table. All right, let's look at one benefit of table before we move into sorting and filtering within the table. Okay, let's just say that I would like to do a simple calculation in the K column. The calculation is with respect to the salary column. I would like to multiply salary by 10%. Okay, so I can start off with equal to. Actually, before that, let's just give a header. Let's say bonus. I would like to apply a 10% bonus to all these employees. So I type my header, I press enter, and see this new column automatically becomes a part of my table. That's one nice benefit, isn't it? All right. Okay, now I can begin with equal to. I can take the reference of the cell which contains my first salary figure, which is H4. Yeah. Now, if it was a normal Excel data, it would have shown me equal to H4. It would have simply shown up the cell reference. But because this is a table, it quickly picks up the header of that column. So it says @ salary within square bracket. Okay, that's how the table functions. I can put up the multiplication symbol, I can say 10% or whatever other percentile figure that I have, and the moment I press enter, okay, it will automatically take care of the entire bonus column. There you go. All the values are automatically calculated. Okay, so that's a benefit of using the table. Otherwise, I would have had to do the first calculation first and then do a drag or a double click to apply the same calculation throughout. Okay, so this was about the table. Now let's just do a sorting here. So I can see that this data is not currently sorted with respect to employee codes maybe, okay, or it's not sorted with respect to the first name column. All right, so if I wish to sort this data, all I need to do is I need to simply keep my mouse on any one cell of my choice. So let's do it with employee code. I would like the data to be arranged in such a way that the employee codes are arranged from 1 to 100. I keep my mouse on any single cell of my choice within the employee code column. All right, I go to data and I can just click on this A to Z icon and it is done. Check it out. All right, so now I've got first employee on top and then the second, third, fourth, and so on. All right, let's just do this again. Let's do it by the first name now this time. So I select any one cell of my choice within the first name column. This time, let's go to the Home tab and on the extreme right hand side, under the editing group, I've got this sort and filter command. I can go to the drop down there and I can choose the first one that says A to Z. Okay, so I can also do the sorting via the Home tab. Okay, so I click on A to Z and that's it. All employees with the first name beginning with A are on top, and then B, and then so on. Remember that the entire other attributes of those employees are also moving up and down depending on the way we sort. So we are not creating a mismatch in our data by doing this method. Okay, let's do it with locations this time. So I can simply just click on any one cell of my choice in the location column. This time, neither I will go with the Home tab nor the Data tab. Let's just do a simple right click. Okay, simple right click of the mouse after keeping my cell on any one cell of the location column, and I've got sort here, and I can go with A to Z or Z to A. Right, let's go with Z to A this time. So the descending order. All right, I click on Z to A and check it out. Yep. So that's how you do a sort if it is to be done with respect to a single column. All right. A lot of people have the habit of selecting the whole sheet first, or maybe the whole data first, or the entire column first, and then they go to the Data tab or the Home tab. But it's okay to simply choose one cell of that particular column which you need to sort, and then go to Data or Home or right click to do the sorting. Okay, now let's just do multiple levels of sorting. Okay, I can keep my mouse on any one cell of my choice. Now because I am doing multiple levels of sorting here, I can go to the Data tab and click on this icon here that says sort. Okay, this square icon here that says sort. Okay, I can click on it, right, and a dialog box opens up. Right, this also can be done via the Home tab. So let me just quickly escape to show you the Home tab method. I can go to the Home tab. Of course, my mouse has to be kept somewhere within the data, not outside. Home tab, and I can go to the sort and filter command, and here I have got the custom sort option, okay, which was available directly in the ribbon in the Data tab. Okay, it's the same custom sort dialog box which I will get. Okay, of course I can do this with right click as well. All right, but now that I'm on the sorting dialog box, let's just look at what all stuff do we have in store for us. First it says sort by. Now I do not wish to do sorting by location, okay, so I can always change. Let's just select department, okay. Within the department I would like to have A to Z sorting, so I can always change that from here, okay. Now let's come here and say add a level, okay. So I click on add level and you will notice that another level gets added. Let's say that my second preference of sorting after department is designation maybe, okay. So I can come to the drop down here, I can select designation, and again within the designation also I would like to perhaps keep it to A to Z, but of course I do have the option of changing that from here, okay. And all right, and I can keep adding multiple levels from here. For now, let me just click OK, and it's done. So within the department column, I see all admins together, like the way I am showing you all right now. Within all the admin employees, there is a sorting with respect to their designation as well. So the person with designation as assistant is on top, then comes D, because there is no BC, then there is E, and stuff like that, right? So what we've done is we've added multiple levels of sorting, okay. Let's just quickly go back to the same window. So I go to data, I go to this square sort. Now let's take a scenario that my requirement changes. Someone comes to me and says, hey, you know what, this sorting was to be done with respect to designation first and then department. I don't need to delete these levels now and then redo the whole process again. I can simply click on department, okay, the level of department, and I can simply use this down arrow here within the sort dialog box. Yep, so I can use the down arrow, and there you go. I can of course say OK, and now you will notice that all people with designations that begin with A are on top, and accordingly the department also has been sorted, okay. So we can add multiple levels of sorting as well, right? Now let's also do a color sort, okay. Let's assume that we have colors in our data, so I can simply randomly select few of these cells from the salary column. Let me give them a yellow color. Let me select a few more cells randomly and give them a red, okay. And then let me also take another color. Let's go with green this time. So my salary column is divided into 4 categories: yellow, red, green, and no color. If I simply decide to go with the A to Z or the Z to A sort, which we did earlier for the employee code column or the first name or the location column, we know what will happen. What will happen is the employee with the lowest salary will be on top, while the employee will be employee with the highest salary will be at the bottom. If I go with A to Z, if I go with Z to A, exactly the reverse of this will happen. But my requirement this time is I would not like to do a sort with respect to value. I would like to do a sort with respect to colors in that cell. So let's see what I can do. I can again select any one cell from the salary column, okay. Remember, I'm doing sorting this time in the salary column, so it's always good to select any one cell from the salary column. I go to data, I will open up that dialog box again, the sorting dialog box, okay. It shows me the current sorting in the data, but I can always delete these levels. If I wish to delete these levels, I can simply click on this, right? I can delete this. I'll say add level, and it's the salary column that I'm doing sorting within. So I will ensure to select salary from the drop down here. Yep. The sort by window shows me all my headers in the data, okay. So I can select salary from here. Okay, now sort on. This time I do not wish to do it with respect to values. Hence I will come to the drop down here and I will choose cell color, okay. cell color. The moment I choose cell color, another window by the name order comes up in front of me. All right, I can go to the drop down here, and let's say I would like to keep red on top, so I select red. Okay, now this time, friends, I will not go with add level, because if I go with add level, I will have to select salary again from here. I will have to make that change from values to cell color from here, and then obviously select my color which I require at number 2. But let's see how different it is if I simply choose copy level this time. Okay, so if I click on copy level, notice here that the benefit is salary is already selected, cell color is already selected. All I need to do now is simply choose the choice, the choice of color. So let's keep no color at number 3. Okay, please observe here that I'm keeping the last field to on top in case of all the levels. Okay, it's the level, it's the way you add your levels that matters, and not this last column. I can always keep everything as on top. That's perfectly fine, right? And let's add another level. So I'll select copy level. Okay, like we saw last time, this salary is already selected, cell color is already here. I will just go to the drop down of the order, and I can choose the last one, which is green, and that's it. All right, all I will do now is OK. All right, I click OK, and there you go. All the red fellows are on top, yellow at number 2, no cell color at number 3, and if you go at the bottom, control down arrow, you will notice that the green ones are at the bottom. Okay, so what we've done is we've done sorting within a table, and we've also seen multiple benefits of how to convert your data. We've seen the benefits of converting your data into a table, and we've seen multiple ways to do it. Also, for the sorting, we've seen multiple columns, level-wise sorting, single column sorting, and color sorting. We can also do custom sorting by going to that same sorting dialog box. We will now look at filters in Microsoft Excel. All right, I have a data here which is already converted into a table. However, that's not a requirement to do a filter. Okay, please note that sorting and filtering are two separate features of Microsoft Excel. Sorting is where you arrange your data in terms of A to Z or Z to A, or any customized sequence. It could be done for numbers, text, dates, right? Filtering is a feature where some of the rows are not visible. Okay, the whole data is still very much intact. It's just that some of the rows are not visible to the user. Okay, I have this data which is an organizational data. First of all, to apply the filter, I can go the filter drop downs. I can go into my design tab if the data is converted into a table, and I can click on this filter button. So automatically the top row of the data gets those filter drop downs. Okay. If I do not wish to go by that method, let me just untick. I can always go to data, and I can click on the icon here that says filter. Okay, I can do that. The other method would be I can just do a right click and I can say filter, and I can use filter from here, but now the filters are already applied. Another way would be I can go to the home tab, and within the editing group, I can go to the sort and filter command, and I can click on filter from here. So now that the filters are already applied, I can click on this filter to remove the drop downs. Okay, please note that there is a shortcut as well, which is Control Shift L. I repeat, Control Shift and L as in London together. Okay, and the drop downs are applied. Okay, before we start looking at multiple examples of filter, I would just like to inform all of us here that if I go to my data tab and if I click on this custom sort, okay, though we are not doing sorting right now, you see there is a tick mark here on my data has headers. Okay, so it's always good to ensure that this tick mark is already applied. Okay, otherwise the first row in your data will not be treated as headers. Okay, it's a very small thing, but it's always good to note that. All right, so I'll say cancel from this sorting window. Let's move to filter. So let's just take an example that I would like to do a filter on, let's say, the admin department. Okay, I would like to see all the employees of just the admin department. So I can go on to this header that says department, DEPT. I can click on the drop down with my mouse, or once I'm in that header cell, I can always hit Alt and down arrow. Okay, Alt and down arrow to access the filter command. Right now I can just go down with my down arrow. I do not want all to be selected, so I can use my space bar to select all, to remove the tick mark on select all. I can come one step down with my down arrow. I can again apply the space bar to apply the tick mark. Okay, so you hit space bar and you're able to remove as well as apply the tick mark. Okay, and that's it. I can say enter and I'm done. So at the bottom here it says 9 out of 100 records found. Okay, so there are 9 employees in this company who belong to the admin or administration department. Okay, if I wish to remove the filter, I can always click on this icon here that says clear. Kindly note that this icon is active right now because there is a filter applied. If I click on this icon that says clear, you will see that it turns into inactive state because the filter has now been removed. If you look at the main data, my original data of 100 employees has been restored. Okay, so this was a simple example of filter. Like I discussed already, Control-Shift-L is the shortcut to apply or remove the filter drop downs. Okay, I can use the Control-Shift-L as well. Okay, all right, now I would like to do a filter on multiple items within the same column. So let's just take an example. I would like to do a filter on Houston, Wellington and Christchurch, for example. Okay, so I go into my location column, Alt down arrow. I will remove the tick mark on select all. I can use my down arrow. If it's difficult for me to find the name of the city that I'm looking for, I can also type it here. Okay, so I can type HOU and there is the tick mark applied already. Okay, so I can say add selection to filter. All right, or else I can simply manually look for the items that I'm looking for. Okay, so let's take a simple example here. Let's go with okay, I mentioned 3 cities, but I forgot those cities now. But okay, Houston was one of them. All right, I can also do it manually. So Wellington was one of them. Yep, Houston, Wellington and Christchurch. So I can tick mark on all 3 of them manually as well. Okay, and finally before we press OK, that's the final step. Let's note that we can use the space bar and the cursor arrow keys to navigate within this filter drop down window. Okay, let's just press OK now, and there you go. I only have employees from those cities which I said visible on the screen right now. Okay, and again, if I go look towards my bottom left, it will give me the answer of how many records have been found out of how many records were there originally. Currently it says filter mode because I've moved my mouse around a bit. Okay, but if I do a filter quickly, I can go down and check. So if I'm not able to see the count here, another method to check the count of the visible rows is I can just do a Control-Shift down on any column without the header, and the count will be available here as well. It says 21. Okay, on the right side this time. All right, so that's multiple items in one column. Please note that this was a case of OR. Okay, I selected multiple locations from the location column, and this was a case of OR. Right, we can also do a case of AND here. All right, so let's just remove the filter. So Control-Shift-L. All right, I will do a filter in such a way that it shows the AND condition right now. So let's take an example. The example would be, I would like to do a filter on all sales managers. Okay, so remember, sales is a department and manager is a designation. Okay, so let's apply the filter drop downs again. I can select sales from department. Okay, tick mark on sales. I can now navigate to my designation header, alt down arrow, and I was looking for manager, so I can tick mark on manager, and that's it. And there you go. It says 3 out of 100. Okay, so because I am doing filter in such a way that both the conditions or all the given conditions are to be fulfilled, this becomes a case of AND. Okay, so the filter can be done in multiple columns at the same time as well. All right. Okay, let's just now friends, to remove the filter, I've been doing Control-Shift-L, okay, but it's always good to use the mouse and click on the clear button from the ribbon which is next to your filter icon, because if you do that, the filter gets cleared, but the filter drop downs will still remain intact for your next filter activity. Okay, so that's a small difference between using the shortcut and the mouse here. Okay, all right. Let's look at another instance of filtering. What I would like to do is I would like to only filter those employees whose second character of the first name is A. Like for example, it could be Wasim, it could be Sachin, right? So the second character should be A is what I'm looking for, okay, from the first name column. So let's go to the drop down of the first name column. This time I will not really go here, okay, and apply tick marks. Let's choose the text filters option available here. Right? I go to text filters and I will choose the one that says equals. Okay. Of course, there are other options given here as well, but let's go with equals. This custom auto filter window opens up in front of me. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for is there is no restriction on the first character of the name of the employee. As it says at the bottom here, I will apply a question mark here. Kindly note, the note here clearly states that we have to use a question mark to represent any single character. Since I'm not really bothered about the beginning character of the name, I will simply put up a question mark. Next, my requirement is the second character should be A. Okay, so I can put A here. All right. Next, it says use a star to represent any series of characters. So what comes after A in the name is not something that I'm really bothered about. Hence, I can put up a star. And that's it. I can now hit enter or OK and check it out. All the employees that you see in the first name column are with A in their second position of the first name. Salma, Narissa, Wakar, David, Laura, Samantha, and everybody has got A in their second position. Okay, so we can also do filter on text, and that too by specific position. Okay. All right, now let's also see slicers. Please note that in your earlier versions of Microsoft Office Excel, for example 2007, the slicer feature was not available. This was launched in the 2010 version of Microsoft Office Excel, and of course it stays in the 2013 and the 16 versions. Okay, let me quickly do a clear on the filter. Okay, so I can come here and I can say clear. All right, and so I'm back to my earlier data. Now, because this data is already converted into a table, I can go into my design tab, provided my mouse is kept on a single cell within the data, and then I can click on insert slicer. Okay, please note that in your Excel 2010 version, the slicers can only be used when you've made a pivot table but in the 13 and the 16 version, you can use the slicer without the pivot table as well. The only requirement is your data has to be converted into a table format. So the table format is not a requirement for doing sorting and filtering, but yes, it is a requirement to use the slicers. You either have a pivot table or your data needs to be converted into a table for us to be able to use the slicer. Okay, right, so I can click on this slicer, insert slicer from the design tab. Okay, but before I do that, let's quickly just navigate to the insert tab as well. And within the insert tab, also I have this command that says slicer. So you decide, it's either the design tab or the insert tab. Okay, so when I click on slicer, it comes up with a window that says insert slicers. And the beautiful thing about this feature is it captures all our headers, okay, right from the employee code header till the bonus header. Okay, now let's do a tick mark on designation, okay, and say okay. Now a small window comes up in front of us that says designation, and this window is actually our slicer. Okay, now I would like to simply take a look at all executives in this company, people who are designated as executives. So I can simply click on executives, and there you go. Within the data, there is automatically a filter applied on the designation column, and I can only see executives. And like we discussed earlier, I can go at the bottom here and check. It says 24 out of 100 records found. So slicer is just another slightly better way to do a filter. It's got a slightly better look and feel because it happens at just one single click. Also, I can click on the slicer and I can choose from the various slicer styles here, okay, within the options tab. Kindly note that the options tab is also a contextual tab. Only when I'm within my slicer is when I will be able to see the options tab. If I click my mouse outside somewhere within the data, the options tab will not be available. Okay, so come back to slicer and let's take the yellow one maybe. All right, so the slightly the look and feel changes. If I wish to clear the filter that has been applied on the executive, I can simply clear slicer by coming here on the top right side of the slicer window. Okay, so click on it. Back to square one. Right, this slicer can also have multiple columns. Okay, so I've kept my mouse within the slicer, and within the options tab I've got columns here. Okay, it says 1 currently, but I can maybe change it to maybe 3. Okay, if I do that, check it out, the slicer has now been divided into 3 columns. Okay, all right, I can also have multiple slicers within the same table. So I can go to the insert tab, I can click on slicer again. I had taken the designation slicer last time. This time I can take the gender slicer. Obviously in gender we will generally have just males and females unless there is another gender defined in some other countries. But let's not go that far. I'll have male and female here, so I can simply click on male and automatically the slicer is applied on male. So I can use any one of the slicers now depending on my requirement. To clear, I can always come here and clear the slicer. If I do not wish to have the slicers anymore, just like you would do for an Excel graph, which is available in the same sheet, I can click on the boundary of the slicer and I can delete on the keyboard. Again, I can click on the slicer and I can use the delete button on the keyboard. Back to square one where there are no slicers. I hope you enjoyed this slicers feature along with multiple examples of filtering your data within a table format.